welcome to another edition of HorseCenter, everyone. Brought to you by Horse Racing Nation and Derby Wars. I am Brian Zipse. As always, I'm with my capable partner, Matt Shifman, and back in Louisville, we have our lovely production assistant producing us, trying to make us, Matt, look good, is Ember Marr.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Ember.
Let's roll right into this, guys. Matt, I have let's start today's show with a little trivia question. Who is racing's newest millionaire?
Who is racing's newest millionaire?
I'm talking equine millionaire here, Matt. Do you know it?
Equine millionaire. I don't know. Was it in Louisiana?
There you go. It was the Super Derby. Vickers in trouble with a 7 1/4 length romp in Saturday's Super Derby. Ember, let's roll videotape.
Vickers in trouble has taken the lead now by 3. I'd Be Cool is next in second. Towards the outside, Victory nor Defeat. A late run on the outside by Louisiana Flyboy. A 16th of a mile to the finish. And Vickers in trouble is racing's newest millionaire as he wins the Super Derby easily by 5. Vickers in trouble, now racing's newest millionaire, wins the Super Derby easily by 5 under Rosie.
There he was, 7 1/4 length winner of the Super Derby. Vickers in trouble. That performance was good enough, in my eyes, to warrant the high honor of Zat's Star of the Week.
Deservedly so. It was sure an impressive performance by Vickers in trouble, the King of Louisiana.
His first win since the Louisiana Derby back in March, Matt. So yeah, all his big wins have come in Louisiana.
Yeah, didn't we talk about that last week? That the owners were promoting Vickers in trouble as not going to lose a Derby in Louisiana, and they were right.
One beats him in Derbies in Louisiana. That's right.
Yeah, it sure was an impressive performance. Nobody was going to catch that horse. I thought a couple of the other horses ran into a little trouble and might have gotten a little closer, but they weren't catching him.
It might have only been 6 3/4 instead of 7 1/4.
Yeah.
Word is that the Indiana Derby. I'll be down in the Indiana Derby at the beginning of October. That might be his next start. Hey, Matt, Belmont opened last week. Is that right?
That is correct, and we saw the opening stake. We previewed a little bit last week with the left bank, the matchup of Alpha and Golden Ticket again, and throwing their pants on fire. It was millionaires everywhere, but the result was not very close.
Millionaires everywhere. It sounds like my honeymoon. Yeah, the result was close, but it wasn't Alpha, good old Alpha involved. Ember, let's roll that videotape.
Pants on Fire, Stormin' Monarcho, and on the far outside, Golden Ticket is kicking in. Then it's Alpha, 3/4 went in 1:09 3. Integrity trying to hold them all off with a furlong to the finish. Pants on Fire is all out. Golden Ticket out in the middle of the track. Then Stormin' Monarcho. Here comes Golden Ticket. Pants on Fire in between horses. Integrity down towards the rail. The three of them come to the wire together. Golden Ticket got it by a head.
All right, that was Golden Ticket defeating Pants on Fire in an exciting addition. That's pretty good for a listed stakes, eh, Matt?
Yeah, it was a pretty impressive move by Golden Ticket. It was pretty far back to begin with. Pretty much the whole field was clustered, and Pants on Fire kind of did what Pants on Fire has been doing lately, contested early, and then, I don't know, he seems to have lost his punch at the end, and then, and Golden Ticket went right by him, but Alpha went right to the back.
Yeah, Golden Ticket, who ran second in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, as we know last year, looks like it set him up well. The race set up well for his rally. I thought Pants on Fire ran a good race, and probably see both of them back in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile again this year. It's interesting to me. When we had this dead heat in the Travers 2 years ago, Golden Ticket was 33 to 1. Alpha was the 2 to 1 favorite. everybody thought Alpha was the better horse of the two. You know, they've run 3 times since then. Their paths have crossed 3 times since the 2012 Travers, and Golden Ticket has beaten Alpha easily ever since. End of days for Alpha's racing career, or will he be back?
Maybe. I was surprised that he didn't, he didn't get as many chances at Saratoga this summer, where he seems to be at his best. But I don't know if they'll wait for another summer at Saratoga. But I probably finished.
We'll see. Yeah, his one big race since that Travers was, of course, in the slop at Saratoga, last year's Woodward win. But besides that, haven't seen a lot from Alpha.
Yep.
All right. So what else happened last week? Kentucky Downs.
Kentucky Downs open.
Did you watch any of the turf racing from Kentucky Downs?
I did. I watched the Dueling Ground Derby, and that was some impressive performance by Maya Fleet. Went right out front, 1 mile and 5/16. I enjoyed watching that race on my video screen on my computer, because you got some interesting camera angles there in that race with the unique shape of Kentucky Downs. So I got a little of the charm. You're going to get all the charm when you make your visit. Is that next week?
I'm going in 2 weeks, but rumor has it that Ember, were you in attendance yesterday?
We were in attendance yesterday. We're actually going to have some footage to show at some point here in the next couple days.
Exclusive HRN footage. Good. Yeah, they have undulations in the turf course. They have it's not your standard oval, very much European. That stretch run of the Dueling Grounds Derby was a good run. You had the third place finisher in the Belmont, Medal Count, trying to run down Maya Fleet, and he did. But it wasn't so easy, was it? Let's roll that tape, Ember.
Towards the outside as they come for the top of the stretch now in this Marathon Derby. And here's Medal Count emerging strongly. He's won from the inside of the orange. And Global View is now produced. He's coming on in the gold cap. And from dead last is Can't Help Believing. They come for the final quarter. And still there is Maya Fleet. It is Medal Count, Maya Fleet, then Global View and Can't Help Believing. For the final furlong now, Maya Fleet is tough as nails. He runs with Medal Count. Then Global View back in third. It's Medal Count up to the lead though. It's Medal Count and Maya Fleet. Maya Fleet stays right with him. It's these two and Maya Fleet and Medal Count in a dramatic photo finish there in the Dueling Grounds Derby. It comes down to an inch one way or the other. What a finish. Then Can't Help Believing and Global View.
Maya Fleet becomes a horse to watch. It certainly looks like he's been a new horse since he's been running a distance on turf. Comes from New York.
Yeah, he turned back every challenge, and like we were just saying, Medal Count definitely got at least a head, neck in front, and Maya Fleet came right back. Impressive performance.
Impressive performance for Maya Fleet, a new distance turf horse on the scene. I also think Medal Count accounted well for himself in his return to turf.
Yep, absolutely.
Also, I want to mention one other horse, because I thought there was a horse there that is a potential Breeders' Cup winner.
Who is that?
Well, it's a 2-year-old, lightly raced so far. Love the name.
Yes.
Cronin the Barbarian. He's a son of Stroll, who was a nice turf horse, and he's trained by Gary Sims. Coming from slightly, I guess you'd say, obscure places. He broke his maiden on turf at Ellis Park. But I just thought what he did in the juvenile stakes down there was very impressive.
Yep, he seems like a good one, and I agree. The great name.
Cronin the Barbarian, all the way from Ellis Park in Kentucky Downs to the Breeders' Cup. What else did we have last week? I think there was one other track that opened last week.
Churchill Downs opened.
Churchill Downs,
and they had the Iroquois 2-year-old race.
The Iroquois, that's the first point maker for the 2015 Kentucky Derby. It's also a Breeders' Cup win and you're in race, so it's kind of a dual qualifier. Who won that again, Matt?
It was Lucky Player for the Steve Asmussen barn. At a nice 11-to-1 price, So it was a little bit of a disappointing performance for Mr. Z, who I think was the betting favorite. And hashtag Bourbon had a little bit of trouble on the trip, made up a little ground in the stretch, but again, I think a little disappointing there. Lucky Player, if you go back and look at the PPs afterwards, Lucky Player was the horse with the most experience.
Yeah, Lucky Player.
Came off a decent race in a stake at Prairie Meadows and ran like the horse that had the experience.
Yeah, I agree. He was game down the stretch. He was tough, and he did have experience. Some of the horses that ran well in the Arlington, Washington Futurity also came out of that Prairie Meadows Juvenile. So that race might be considered a little bit of a key race as we move ever closer to the Derby next year. I got to say, my horse, hashtag Bourbon, he was the first two-year-old I fell in love with early this year, and I thought he ran a very good race. He was bottled up for what seemed like 3/8 or so, and he was running down the stretch to get in the picture and to be third. So in no ways am I giving up on that son of Super Saver.
So give him another shot.
You know how I love Bourbon. I mean, hashtag Bourbon.
Hashtag Bourbon. When I was in Louisville in the summer, my wife insisted we try a little of the bourbon. I don't know. I don't think I'm a bourbon guy.
You're not a bourbon guy yet, but you know what? The more time you spend in Louisville, Ember.
Yeah.
Are you a bourbon girl?
Heck yeah, I am. Of course I am.
Not just a yeah, but a heck yeah. They do it good in Kentucky and Louisville and yeah, bourbon might be an acquired taste for you somewhere down the road.
Well, the only thing it's a good second fiddle to touring all the horse farms down by Lexington is going on the bourbon tour also.
Bourbon tour, you can wear your white hat and your cane, and you can kind of stroke your beard a little bit, and you'll fit right in down there in Kentucky. All right, so that was last week. We're kind of in a little bit of a big giant races of the fall are coming.
Yes, 51, Brian, 51.
50 is that the bourbon that you like right now? What's 51?
51 days till the Breeders' Cup.
51 days till the Breeders' Cup. I'm not even going to go to the Breeders' Cup yet. I mean, we got all these big races. We got the Pennsylvania Derby's going to be big. Shared Beliefs coming back in the Awesome again. I just heard recently that the Kelso on Super Saturday, the undercard of the Jockey Club Gold Cup, you're gonna have some heavyweights in the Kelso. It's My Lucky Day is gonna be in there. Boy, I wish I knew how to pronounce that super horse down in Florida. Stone Street's got a 3-year-old down there who's run 3 gigantic races. Yep. Ember, Matt, do you know the pronunciation? I don't want to mangle it.
No.
None of us know how to say his name. But that horse, 3 races. He's won by pole every time. Spires have been over 100, which is unusual for the first 3 races of his life.
And I heard something about Bayern going to the Pennsylvania Derby maybe now?
Yeah, Bayern. The Pennsylvania Derby's filling up, and why not? $1 million. There's not a lot of chances to run against 3-year-olds anymore.
Right.
So, Candy Boy, Bayern, Tapiture, the Pletcher winner, the Smarty Jones, Albano. California Chrome is gonna have to be good to win this, right?
Gonna have to be good, absolutely.
Coming off the layoff, but that's still a little over a week away. This week, I think the biggest race of the weekend will probably be up north of the border.
Yes, the Woodbine Mile. And with Wisedan taking a pass on the Woodbine Mile this year, got a field of 12, probable field of 12. I think the draw is today.
The draw was drawn.
It was drawn already.
And there was 11 drawn. No Summer Front, who we thought was a probable. But the headliners look to be K-Gun.
Yep.
K-Gun, you remember well from Kentucky, Churchill, and Monmouth. He ran a good race in the UN, coming off a 7 furlong stakes win there. He's actually listed as the favorite, but there's a couple coming in from Saratoga where the 4-star Dave came down to a thrilling finish.
On the outside, and Seek again is just in behind the lead. Now running fourth and looking for a way through. Silvermax comes up empty. Syed comes away with the lead. Grand Arch and Seek again gets stalled in behind Syed. Now he's got some room. Now he's got some room at the inside. They're coming down to the finish. Grand Arch on the outside. Seek again. Those two down to the line, and it is Seek again. Joel Rosario with...
So that was a great win for Seek again. Exciting win. It looked like he might not get there. I think he's one of the main players as we move closer to the Breeders' Cup Mile.
Yeah, what's the plan for Seek again? I'm a little disappointed he didn't go up for that race.
Seek again probably will run against Wise Dan again. Last time they were in Kentucky was a thrilling finish on Kentucky Derby Day where Wise Dan got him by a nostril. Yeah, those two plus Golden Sense are all pointing for the Shadwell Mile, which looks like the biggest prep for the Breeders' Cup Mile this year.
That'll be amazing.
That should be fun. Wise Dan not going to have it easy this year. Every once in a while I say Wise Dan doesn't look quite as dominant as last year, or maybe Wise Dan is showing some vulnerability and people get mad at me. I think he's just a phenomenal horse, and I would never put down Wise Dan. I saw his maiden when he won by 15 lengths at Turf. I love Wise Dan. I'm just saying the competition is lining up for him this year.
Oh, so. Yeah. That's going to be a heck of a race.
Heck of a race, and then we move to the Breeders' Cup Mile. But this week's Woodbine Mile looks like a good one. K-Gun, we just saw the second and third place finishers in the 4-star Dave. That is Jack Milton was third and Grand Arch was second. Two of the major players on Sunday. Do you have a preference up there, Matt?
Well, besides them, you've got some of the top trainers going up there. Field of 11, you're going to need a good trip. So, going to look for a price in there, I think.
A little racing luck is needed. I'm not looking for a price so much because I really like this horse. I like Jack Milton, even though Grand Arch beat him last time. I don't think it was his best trip. So he's only 7-2 on the morning line. He'll be second, third choice probably, but he's my mile pick.
It's time for Jack Milton to get a big win.
It's time for him to get a big win. He won Forest Poker Day, which is in the summer, but he's lost a couple since. I look for him to bounce back. Also on the same card, lots of big turf races up there. We'll see some 2-year-olds Saturday. They always end up in the Breeders' Cup.
Always.
But there's a Chicago superstar. He's won about 3/4 of his turf races. He's running in the Grade 1 Northern Dancer. His name is the Pizza Man.
Oh, the Pizza Man. Fan favorite, the Pizza Man.
He's a fan favorite. I was a little surprised that he was going to go up there for this race. But then someone reminded me it's the dough.
See? Fan favorite. When the Pizza Man wins, the social media bursts with great lines.
I'll take mine with extra cheese. Anyway, I hope he does well in Sunday's Northern Dancer. What else we got this weekend? Anything else you're looking at?
We're going to Chicago. You got some races there. You're going to the track on Saturday.
Yes, I'm going to the track on Saturday. Are you going to make a racetrack trip this weekend?
If I do, it may just be to go to the food trucks at Monmouth Park on Saturday.
Sounds like you have a better chance at a winner than me. Well, good. If you go there, say hello to my friend Travis Stone.
I will say hello to our friend Travis Stone.
Excellent. I'm going to be at Arlington, and it's actually, I would call this year in and year out, the Pucker Up attracts good turf fillies. It's a bit of a prep for the QE2 down in Keeneland, but every year it always attracts. I think it's the best race that's not on Arlington Million Day. And they got a field of 9 this year, and literally 6 or 7 of them are serious turf fillies.
Yeah, you've got a heck of a field there. You've got a whole bunch of horses coming from the big prep for the Pucker Up from Arlington that was running 2 divisions. Both those winners are back, and a lot of the horses who were close behind are back. And then you throw in a couple turf trainers. Does Proctor have one going in there?
Proctor has a nice lightly raced filly in there.
I know you love Proctor, and Graham Motion is sending one in, and he's having a heck of a summer. So
let's throw up the PPs on this one real quick, if you would. So we're going to throw up the time form PPs for that one. And yeah, the pucker up, literally 6 or 7 of these fillies I think can win, Matt. The one that interests me a little bit, I don't know if you've seen her in person, maybe you saw her in New York, is the Grand Motion filly Final Redemption, the daughter of Heartspun.
Yeah, that's why I brought Motion up. But I think that horse has got a good shot. And what do you think about the price on that one?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Motion, New York fillies always get bad. She's only run twice, though. They look very promising. And with Kiss Moon, the Hatouf, the most impressive Hatouf winner, with Stellaris and Aurelius Bell, the 1-2 finishers in the Arlington Oaks. Proctor's got Sista's Stroll, could be any kind, coming from Delmar. So it's a tough spot. But if you're looking for one of these fillies to be a really, really top-notch turf filly, Final Redemption, making only her 3rd start, could be the ticket. And she is a hard spun, and I like the hard spuns, the young sire that ran so many good races about 6-7 years ago.
There'll be plenty of people making the hunch bet for that race, probably. Kiss Moon in the pucker up.
Kiss Moon, and I love it. Kiss Moon in the pucker up. That's your pick then?
Nah, I'm not big on hunch plays, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of people making that hunch play.
That's true. That's true. And she ran a big race on night day. She looked good, so she's definitely in there with a chance. You know, earlier in this in the show, I announced my Zats Star of the Week was Vickers in Trouble. Is there something that you want to announce?
So last week we spent a little time talking about Super Saver. So I think we're going to try and have the Stud of the Week.
Matt Shifman's Stud of the Week.
And this week, I'm going to go a little bit different here. Stud of the Week. I'm not going with a horse.
Uh-oh.
Is that okay? It's going to be clean.
It's okay with me. Amber, is this okay?
It's definitely okay with me.
I'm going with Bobby Flay.
Bobby Flay
is my Stud of the Week because at the Keeneland sale, he was the breeder of $2 million horses.
That's pretty good.
He was the breeder of the $1.1 million Tisnow on Wednesday, and he was the breeder of the $1 million Tappet filly on Tuesday. Both of whom, I think Stone Farm, was the agent for both of those, but Bobby Flay was the breeder. So Bobby Flay is my Stud of the Week. I don't know.
Wow, you really went out on a limb. Amber, what do you think of this? Stud of the Week as a person? Does that work?
I allow it.
There you go. If it's good with Amber, it's good with me. All right, Bobby Flay, Stud of the Week. That rolls us right in to our talk about the Keeneland September sale.
Yeah.
Big doings down in Lexington way.
I haven't seen what's been going on today, but is the 1.6 million still the sale topper?
The 1.6 million is still the sale topper, but at last viewing, there were 3 more $1 million horses today. So today was a good day for sellers and hopefully for buyers too. But the $1.6 million yearling, the Unbridled Song, son, still tops the sale. He was on day 2. He's got a pretty famous brother that you like, didn't you, Matt?
He sure does. He's a half to Oxbow.
Half to Oxbow. Oxbow is out of that nice C's Tizzy mare. Tis Amazing. And I thought...
Tis Amazing, interestingly, Tis Amazing was an unraced filly who herself was $1 million Keeneland yearling. $1 million unraced Keeneland yearling. California bred, Tis Amazing. I guess making up for it now.
She's proving that you can make your money after after the racing days are over, because Oxbow obviously was an excellent horse, the Preakness winner, and now she's got a $1.6 million horse. I thought he gave me the impression a little bit of Oxbow with the coloring and the looks in the face, but he looked a little bit bigger than Oxbow. Oxbow wasn't a real sizable horse.
Tis Amazing has also thrown 2 other winners. One of them was graded stakes placed, and I think a stakes winner of a minor stake. So she's doing well.
As a broodmare, she's the real deal.
Absolutely.
Maybe she's the broodmare of the week to go along with Bobby Flay. So this one went for $1.6 million.
Thank you. Now $1,000,006, $1,550,000, $1,000,006 here, $1,550,000, $1,600 here. You get $1,000,006 in, $1,550,000, $650. $1,650 just in the stretch runway. Come on. This is done. $650. Thank you both. In the back, $1,600,000.
Okay, so that was Oxbow's half-brother by Unbridled Song. You know, Lucas, who trained Oxbow, and Lucas is one of his main men, owners, Corbin, who owned Will Take Charge, trained by Lucas, and did so well last year. They really wanted this one. They went up to $1.5 million, but in the end, it was someone else who took home the prize. Mandy Pope,
Mandy Pope.
Mandy Pope did the deed with the $1.6 million.
She doesn't like to get outbid.
She's not afraid to put the money down. That's for sure. Mandy Pope.
I'm watching the sales on my laptop. How about you, Brian?
Oh yeah, as much as I can. I'm a busy guy. Unfortunately, more busy than I'd like. But yeah, it's always good to watch the sales. Hopefully next year I can be down there in person.
Yeah.
But Mandy Pope, yeah, she not only buys very expensive broodmares, but now she's got a $1.6 million yearling colt to play with.
And who do you think will get to train that one?
Mandy Pope? Well, I don't know. Buff Bradley trained her last star, although that was kind of a leave groupie doll with Buff Bradley. But we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yes. It's the time of the show again, Matt, where we both give the viewing audience, all 4 of them, a little parting shot. What do you have for us today?
I've got a parting shot. I'm going to go back to something we talked about a little bit earlier. I'm going to go back to the Iroquois and the Road to the Kentucky Derby points. I'm sorry. I understand the Road to the Kentucky Derby. They start the points with the juveniles. They have to be races going a route of ground, but I'm sorry. The Iroquois hasn't held up as we saw in the Kentucky Derby post on Horse Racing Nation. The Iroquois has not done much, hasn't made any kind of splash in the Breeders' Cup or in the Kentucky Derby, and I'm sorry, I don't think the Iroquois deserves Road to the Derby points. I understand the definition with the rooted ground. I'd rather see points going in the hopeful horses that have come out of there. But, I think we got to be reasonable, and that's not a race that deserves points.
I've always kind of enjoyed the Iroquois, and I think they might have some horses that come out of it in the near future. And I guess Churchill Downs Incorporated might disagree with you on the importance.
I agree. It's their game. It's their track. It's they're entitled, but
the Kentucky Derby is their baby. No doubt about it. Matt, I just want to counter that and remember that Hashtag, who was 3rd in the Iroquois, is my first Kentucky Derby horse that I'm on his bandwagon. So I hope you're wrong. I hope good things come from the Iroquois this year.
Good. Absolutely.
We'll see what happens.
Yep.
It's a long, fun road.
You got a parting shot, Brian?
It's sort of a parting shot. It's a little project I'm working on. I should have it out on Horse Racing Nation in the next few days. It's just an interesting topic, I thought, as a horse racing fanatic that I am, that somebody day. The best horses that have never won a championship. And I started throwing out names, and one of my friends there on Facebook started throwing out names, and there were some interesting ones. Anybody that comes to mind for you, Matt? Did I put you on the spot? Well, the first horse I think, and one of the greatest horses I ever saw was Alidar. Alidar never won a championship.
Wow.
Much in thanks to a beautiful chestnut named Affirmed, but Alidar was a great. Yeah, I'll be talking about Alidar, Native Diver, Ancient Title, Sham, Best Pal, Formal Gold, Exceller. How about a filly? Bold and Determined. There's a blast from the past. Gunbow, Kelso's old buddy, Gunbow. So hopefully that'll be an interesting topic and an interesting article for people.
Yeah, well, that's the kind, nobody does them better than you, Brian.
I don't know about that, but I try. All right, it's time to say goodbye. Matt, thank you again for joining me today on HorseCenter.
My pleasure. Thank you, Ember.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you all next week. Say goodnight, Ember.
Good night, Ember.
Good night, Ember.